I love the sitcom references and the Marvel Easter eggs that you really have to deep dive and explore. I think that just adds to the atmosphere. It makes you feel like you're just being a little detective, which is one of my favorite things to do when watching a show. Hey, it's Kristen, and today we're talking about the first 2 episodes of Disney Plus's brand new Marvel series, WandaVision. Is the show a win for the streaming platform? And what do those Easter eggs really mean? We're about to dive all up into it. Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and drop down in the comments and let me know your thoughts on WandaVision. Did you love it? Did you hate it? And did you catch these references, or maybe some others that I missed? Let me know. Now, WandaVision immediately kicks off with Wanda Maximoff and Vision starring in their own sitcom, with the premise being that they're trying to hide their super identities as they attempt to live normal lives, punctuated by classic sitcom tropes throughout television history. In the very first episode, they tackle black and white sitcoms from the 1950s, like The Dick Van Dyke Show, as Vision attempts to impress his boss with a dinner party, an event that Wanda confuses for a romantic anniversary dinner. Everything plays out in classic form. There's even fun old school cuts to make the magic happen. It all seems like a regular 1950s sitcom, but of course there are bigger mysteries brewing in this Marvel world. And the first hint that things are amiss happens when it's time to sit down to dinner. Vision's boss, Mr. Hart, and his wife start grilling Wanda and Vision about their background,
our story.
I think what my wife means to say is that we moved from...
Moved from where? Married when? Damn it, why?
Weird vibes build until Mr. Hart starts choking and his wife reacts really bizarrely to it. The episode ends happily for Wanda and Vision, but takes another turn when we're taken out of the sitcom to see it's actually being watched in some type of surveillance room by a mysterious person. Let's explore the Easter eggs and references in this episode. First of all, in the opening credits, we can see that Wanda and Vision's house number is 2800, which could be a reference to a code for one of Marvel's many alternate universes. We get to meet a neighbor named Agnes, played by Kathryn Hahn. That could be a take on Agatha Harkness, a witch who's been both an enemy and an ally to Wanda in the comic books. In one of the trailers, she's dressed as a witch for Halloween, and in these first 2 episodes, she's often seen wearing a similar black and white brooch to the comic book character. Plus, Agatha Harkness, Agnes, it makes sense to me. The 1958 song Yakety Yak gets a big feature moment in this first episode, and while it may seem like a gibberish rock and roll song, its history makes a pretty interesting choice to use in a show like WandaVision. It was written as a parody of white middle-class society, and funnily enough, Elizabeth Olsen's sisters, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, even performed the song in their 1998 album I Am the Cute One, which I definitely had a cassette of and listened to non-stop when I was a kid. Each episode gets its own unique theme song and intro that reflects sitcoms of the past, and a classic commercial break that hints at Wanda's own troubled past. In the first episode, we see a commercial advertising the Toastmade 2000, a toaster made by Stark Industries. This might seem like a good omen at first. It's Tony Stark after all, but then you look back at Wanda's history. Wanda and her brother Pietro joined Hydra because the Stark Industries bomb killed their parents, destroyed their home, and then they were trapped for days with a non-detonated Stark bomb. So seeing a commercial for a device that has a Stark Industries logo on it and beeps like a bomb, that sounds more like a nightmare for Wanda. Another big but subtle clue about the sitcom world that Wanda and Vision are in comes from a wine bottle at dinner with the words Maison du Mépris on it, which translate to House of Contempt. Contempt meaning feeling that a person or thing is beneath consideration, worthless, or deserving scorn. This could hint at how Wanda is feeling, as well as tease where this story is coming from, the House of M storyline from the comic books. In this story, Scarlet Witch suffers a mental breakdown and tries to alter reality to bring back her lost children. Perhaps this is a take on that breakdown based on all the struggles she's gone through in life, losing her family, her twin brother, and even Vision in the films. And then at the end of the episode, in this mysterious surveillance room, we see a notepad with the SWORD logo on it. SWORD stands for Sentient World Observation and Response Department in the comics, or Division in the films, as it seems it might be a division of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it's been suspected this was coming into play since it was revealed that Nick Fury was in space working with the Skrulls in the Spider-Man Far From Home end credits. If Nick Fury is involved, I'm feeling like these are the good guys, and they're trying to help Wanda get out of this sitcom situation. Switching gears to episode 2, we dive into a 1960s sitcom in the style of Bewitched. We see the duo preparing for a talent show, meeting more neighbors, and even joining a neighborhood watch meeting, all while trying to fit in this new town. They do a really impressive job of having Wanda and Vision put on a magic show that Wanda has to sort of bewitch to make it look less real and make it seem like it's an illusion. This episode also takes some of that weirdness to the next level with more more references to Sword, color showing up in this black and white world, sort of like Pleasantville, strange radio messages, and a mysterious bee-man. The episode ends with Wanda seemingly rewinding the show and changing the ending to a happier route, with Wanda and Vision learning that they're going to have a baby and everything turning Technicolor. Now let's explore the Easter eggs and references in this episode. We see Wanda and Vision sleeping in separate beds. That really calls to mind sitcoms like I Love Lucy, where Lucy and Ricky slept in separate beds in the same room. And in the Bewitched style opening credits, we see several references to Marvel Comics, including a helmet under the floorboards that looks very similar to one of Vision's adversaries, the Grim Reaper. Maybe this could also be a hint about Vision being dead.
Am I dead? No. Why would you think that?
Because you are.
We also see some references in the supermarket signs to Bova Milk, which was a humanoid cow that helped raise Wanda and Pietro, Auntie A's kitty litter that lasts, which could be a reference to Agatha Harkness and her cat familiar Ebony, and Wonder Oats, which could maybe be a reference to the Grim Reaper's brother Wonder Man, whose brainwaves were used to create Vision in the comics. While preparing for the town's talent show, Vision and Wanda go by Glamour and Illusion, a nod to two of their friends who were stage magicians in the comic books and who lived in the same town as them. They also all feared prejudice and violence from the people in the town because of their superhuman abilities, which is exactly what Wanda and Vision are trying to avoid by doing this magic act. They just want to fit in.
This is our home now. I want us to fit in.
Later on in the episode, Wanda hears a strange sound and goes outside to see a toy helicopter, suspiciously in color in this black and white world. It has a Sword logo on it and is in these Iron Man red and yellow colors. Based on an old trailer, could this be a real-life Sword helicopter breaking into this virtual reality barrier to try to help Wanda, only to be turned into a toy by her powers? We also meet two new characters, Geraldine and Dottie. Geraldine is played by Teyonah Parris, who we know is actually an adult version of Monica Rambeau. So why the fake name? With her connections to Captain Marvel and Nick Fury, maybe she's a Sword agent trying to help Wanda. Meanwhile, Dottie seems to be sort of the end-all be-all of the neighborhood, the queen bee, but she's already suspicious of Wanda. Could this be just stereotypical sitcom hijinks, or maybe something more? We also see her hand bleed red. Could this mean something? Music plays another important role in this second episode as well. We hear the 1965 song Help Me Rhonda by the Beach Boys playing on the radio, and it seems very fitting that Wanda and Rhonda sort of rhyme in this situation. We also hear the radio picking up a different frequency with someone saying, "Who's doing this to you, Wanda?" Could this be Jimmy Woo's voice as he's working with Sword to figure out what's going on, not realizing that this might be an alternate reality jail of Wanda's own making? We get another commercial break in this episode where we get an advertisement for a luxury Swiss watch made by Strucker, which features the Hydra symbol on it. This is very relevant because Baron von Strucker is the Hydra leader who recruited Wanda and Pietro and even gave them their powers. And finally, at the end of this episode, Wanda is suddenly pregnant. This could be really similar to the Vision and the Scarlet Witch comics of the 1980s that have Wanda magically giving birth to twins that are later revealed to be fragments of the demon Mephisto. This story eventually led to the events of House of M. So it's all kind of coming together, it's all connected, and maybe some of these characters that we're hearing about, like the Grim Reaper and Mephisto, could be some of these neighbors that we've been introduced to. But as we revel in the excitement of Wanda and Vision finding out that they're pregnant, we hear something that leads them to go outside, and there they see a mysterious man coming out of the sewer wearing a beekeeper outfit. This seems to be a reference to the evil, advanced idea mechanics, who were a group of rogue scientists. Their outfits sort of looked like beekeeper outfits. They were first brought together by Baron von Strucker to develop advanced weaponry for Hydra. When Wanda sees this man, she says no and rewinds the show, leading me to think that this is another nightmare connection to her past with Hydra and Strucker, and seeing Wanda rewrite all of this makes me believe that this sitcom world is something that she's created to protect herself, but that her past traumas keep leaking through. When it comes down to it, I really enjoyed these first two episodes of WandaVision. This show takes big risks delivering us very unique and different things that we haven't seen in the Marvel Universe before. I love the sitcom references and the Marvel Easter eggs that you really have to deep dive and explore. I think that just adds to the atmosphere. It makes you feel like you're just being a little detective, which is one of my favorite things to do when watching a show. If anything, I just wish that the episodes were a little bit longer, and also I do feel like the way that this show is sort of paced, I think it would have made more sense to actually release this entire season at once versus weekly, just because I think that would help with like the momentum of some of these big reveals that we're getting. WandaVision is smart, funny, and really allows Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany to to show off their range as actors. They do such a great job of making fun of themselves as well as the sitcoms they're modeled after. I'm excited to see them continue to build on these classic sitcom tropes while building up these deeper mysteries about what's really going on in this world and how it connects back to the larger Marvel picture. As things get twistier, it does sort of call to mind The Twilight Zone or The Truman Show, and I just think that this is going to be such an exciting project to watch. The scripts are really smart. They paid such incredible attention and detail to the stylings and the atmosphere, and I think that WandaVision just really shows us what Marvel is capable of, especially when they're thinking outside the box. If you guys like this one, you can check out more of my videos right over here, and I will catch you in my next one. See ya!